topic. And as always, we start with any topic. We start with why do we need that particular, why do we need to learn that topic. Okay, so on the similar note, this template topic also, first let us understand why do we need to study this topic. Okay, why to study, or why this template topic is or concept is there in C++. So in order to understand that, let us start with some example here. My screen is visible to everyone, yes?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So here let us start with small example first to understand its importance. So now I'll create a simple class for arithmetic operations. Okay, so let us call that class as arithmetic. So let us perform all these arithmetic operations on integer type, say for example. So two numbers I'll declare, let us call them as number 1, number 2, and result. Okay. Then one method is to set those values. So here integer x, maybe integer y. Now in this function, we'll set the values for number 1 is equal to x and number 2 equal to y. Okay, so this function is to set the values, right? So next function is to perform the calculation. So maybe if you want to add numbers, so now no input is required because already we have set number 1 and number 2. So here directly I can say, yes, what should be the logic here? Somebody can you unmute and help me here? Plus number 2. Is it correct, or I should pass any input parameter to add?
No.
Not
It's
required?
correct.
Because the reason is that in set function, we have already set the values for these two inputs. Okay. So here no need to pass any input, directly these values are available in this object. So we are performing directly addition. And then here I'll display the result on the screen. So result is equal to, and it is stored in the result variable, and then a new line character. That's it. Ekdam simple function. Okay. Similarly, if I have to perform subtraction, what I need to do? I'll add one more function over here. And let us call this function as subtraction. So, sorry. And then here we'll perform. Okay. So like that, multiplication, division, and so on, you can add number of arithmetic operations in this particular class. Okay. So these functions are supposed to work on these two numbers and calculate this result and display it on the screen. Now from main, if I have to create object of this arithmetic object, okay. So I've created the object of this. Now how to call set function for this? Object dot set. Now in set we should pass two input values, right? Now set takes x and y as input parameter. So here I need to first declare two values. Let us call them as maybe k comma l, and then accept these values from user. Will display one message, enter numbers. And then we are accepting these two values from user. Now we'll pass this k and l to this set function. And if we have to display it, what I need to do? Object dot add. If I have to perform addition, I'll call add function. And if I have to perform subtraction, I'll call subtract function over here. Okay. So this is how this program is written. Let us execute this program and find whether any errors are there. No errors. So we'll input some values here, 10, 20. So it is displaying me the addition as well as subtraction. Yes. So this program is very simple, and like you all are familiar how to write this type of program. Now, suppose same thing, same operation now, I want to perform on float value or decimal values. Okay, same thing like addition, subtraction, all arithmetic operation. I want to make it flexible. Maybe if user want to perform it with integer, I can perform it with integer. If same operation, addition, subtraction, I want to perform with float, I should be able to perform with float. So what I need to do in this program? What is the solution to this problem? Yes, anyone? What is the solution? Forget about templates. What we need to do? If I have to perform in same program, I want to make it flexible. Sometimes user want to do it with integer, sometimes with float. Same set of operation. What I can do? Can I redeclare this class? I'll declare this class with another name, not redeclaration, but maybe this I'll call as float, and let us call this as int. So one class is for performing all the operations on integer, okay, and another class is to perform all the operations on float. So what changes I need to do here? Float, float, float. Anything else? Any changes here in this program?
No, ma'am.
Yes or no? No other changes. Hai na? Just we need to change these data types. Have we done any change in the coding part? Logic part?
No.
No changes in the logic part. Simply what I'm doing, I'm making it as float. Wherever data type is there, I'm replacing integer by float, right? Now from here also, like initially if I have to perform with integer, what I'll do, I'll create object of integer variable class. Okay, so this what we have named it as now, arithmetic underscore integer. So arithmetic underscore integer. Okay. Now this will perform all the operations with integer. Now, now suppose user want to perform addition of decimal numbers. So now which object to be created? Yes, I want to perform the addition as float, hai na? Arithmetic float, and then maybe I'll call it as object underscore, or maybe object one. Okay. So object one I have created for all float operations. Okay. Now I'll take two inputs from user. Let us call it as q comma w maybe, and then enter numbers cin w, right? Then after this, obj1 dot set. Now we need to pass this q and w as input parameter to this function, and then similarly to calculate the addition, what I'll do, I'll call add function, and for subtraction purpose I'll call subtract function. Okay. So let us execute whether it is working properly. First what I want, first it should perform all the operations on integer, and then it should perform all the operations on float. Okay. So let us execute. So first it is asking me for two numbers. Let us enter. So it is performing the calculations perfectly. Now again this enter numbers. Now this is for this float numbers. Okay. So let us give some float values here. So are we getting float values here as a result?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Now, in this code, what do you observe? Like, if this same operation I want to perform with double, what I need to do? Same operation, but with double.
Arithmetic double.
Double, है ना? I need to have one more class and simply I'll make it as double. Wherever that data type is there, I'll replace it by double. So is it a good programming practice? Because see here, I'm not changing anything. Have I changed the logic? Have I changed the functions inside it or any variable? No. What I'm changing, I'm making change just in the data type. That's it. Otherwise, the logic and everything, the variable declaration, the function definition, everything remains same. Only what I'm doing, I just change this data type. But there is no option. I have to perform this for different data types again. Okay. So is it a good programming practice now?
No.
No, ma'am.
No,
No,
na?
ma'am.
I'm repeating something. I'm repeating something unnecessarily just for this sake of this data type, changing this data type. I'm repeating entire class. See this in this class, I've taken only subtraction and addition function. But say for example, here again, number of functions are there, multiplication, division, maybe square calculation. ऐसे बहुत सारे equation कुछ है. And like we are having multiple functions in this. So same class, this big class, again I need to repeat it for float, then double and so on. Okay. So instead of that, in object oriented languages, what we have seen, it supports reusability. So in with this example, can you say it is supporting reusability? Do you
No,
observe
ma'am.
reusability here? No.
No, ma'am.
No reusability. Unnecessarily, we are writing the same code again and again with different data type. है ना? So it is not supporting reusability. So now, as object-oriented languages supports reusability, how to make this program support reusability? See here, what is the problem? The entire class is exactly same. Okay. Only I need to make changes here, wherever data type is there. Okay. So now what is the solution to these type of problem? We can use templates for this. Okay. In order to avoid this, avoid writing these classes again and again for different data type, because logic remains same, everything remains same, then why to repeat this, why to define these classes again and again for different data type? So instead, what we'll do here, we'll try to write a generic program here. Generic program matlab? What does generic what you can get out of this generic keyword? What is generic programming? Any idea?
General program.
General program, है ना? मतलब what is general program? What is general program?
For example, ma'am, here we are taking int, float, and double.
Hmm?
So according to the user, we can design a general program.
Right, perfect. So according to user, you should be able to create a generic program. You should not be, see, this way of coding is very hardcore type of coding. You know, it should be dynamic, right? And it should be more flexible. Instead of dynamic, I should use a word flexible. It should be more flexible. It should be more generic. Okay. So that once it is written, I should be able to reuse it multiple times. मतलब एक बार मैंने class लिख दिया, I should not repeat it again and again for a different data type. I should be able to use it the way I want. Okay, for different data types. Okay. So now for that, what we'll do is we'll try to implement this generic programming, or we'll try to write this generic program with the help of templates. Okay. So first very important thing is we need to see here we have written this twice or thrice, this class declaration. So what first thing I'll do is I'll remove this. It is not required. Okay. I've repeated this class definition here. So I'll remove it. Now only one class is there. So with this one class, how to make it flexible for different data types. Okay. So for that, you need to create template class. So how to create a template class? I need to use template keyword here. Okay. So I've used a template keyword. Now in this template keyword, I say class. Okay, and let us name it. This is like variable declaration. You can give any name to variable declaration variable. So similarly, you can give any name to the template. So T1 is the name given to this template. T1 is just a name given to this template. Template, what template word suggest you? What is template in general? What is template? Is
Setting
it just
some parameters. For example,
mm,
here we are adding
no,
subtracting.
forget about programming. In general, template we use normal while normal
Like
conversation.
these are our requirements.
Blueprint for
Accordingly,
creating
we'll
multiple
do
objects.
the efforts we want.
Sorry, come again. I don't want it programming specific, just general. We used to say na template. This is a template. You
Blueprint.
enter, say for example, if I have to collect your biodata CV, okay. So for that, I can give you a template. What does it mean?
Pattern or
Common format.
Correct. Common formatting, skeleton, you can say. Okay. So that is same definition. You try to relate it here. Once I create a template, I should be able to dump integer type of data, float type of data, a double type, any type of data. Okay. So I'm creating one template, class template over here. So for that, just simply use a template keyword and then say class, and whatever name you want to give to that template, you can give. So this is as far as syntax is concerned. This is the syntax. You need to use a keyword here, template, then again class as a keyword, and then this is the name given to that template. You can give any name to that template, right? So this is the first thing that you need to do to tell the compiler that I'm creating this class as a template class. To tell the compiler that I'm creating this class as a template class. Okay, this is the very first thing that you need to do. So is it clear related to syntax? This first line is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, just simply add template and say class T1. So now this class is, compiler will understand that you want to create a template class. Now next important thing. Do I want to stick to any data type over here? Like wherever this integer is mentioned, do I want to stick to any specific data type?
no.
No, I want to make it generic for integer, for float, for double. So wherever I want a generic type, so that generic data type to be replaced with this T1. Okay, so wherever I want generic data type to be created, that data type to be replaced with this T1. Now, where I want generic data type, I want the generic data type over here. Okay, so instead of saying integer, I should not stick to integer data type. I will say it as T1. Okay, so now this number 1, 2, and result, these three variables will be treated as generic data types, because here you have not mentioned any specific data type over here. You are creating a template here, and that template you are using here. So all these variables will be treated as generic. Now, next important thing, whenever you want to set this number 1 and 2 here, to this number 1 and 2, what input parameter you are accepting, X and Y. So what should be the data type of X and Y? Again, it depends. Right?
Generic.
Generic, right? We cannot stick to integer. Otherwise, what will happen? Always this X and Y will be whatever input you are passing from main, but this X and Y will collect it as integer and round it off, and then it will store it in number 1. We don't want that. Each time it should be generic type of variable. So again, this X should also be a generic and Y should also be a generic type of variable, right? Okay. So here we have not mentioned any data type. In add also we haven't mentioned any data type as such. Yes, because already everything we have declared here itself. And then subtract also no declaration of any variable or any data type. Okay. So here we need not make any change. Okay. So what changes I have done? I've created one template. Okay. So once I create a template class, what changes I need to do? Wherever that specific data type I have mentioned, I need to replace it with this template T1. So wherever that data type, specific data type, I just replace it with this T1. That's it. Okay. So now this is created as a generic class, or which is also called as template class. Very simple concept. कुछ difficult है इसमें? Try to relate it with the example. मतलब जो भी मैंने example दिया था, you try to relate it with that, so that you will understand it's important first. Okay. And then what changes I have made? Just simply I have added this line here to create a template class, and wherever data type is there mentioned, so that data type I have replaced with that template. तो कुछ difficult है इसमें? Simple, right ना? Very simple. Now I need not repeat it for integer, float, and everything. I've created one common template here. Okay. Now next, how the compiler will understand that now at this moment in time you want this class for integer variable, then maybe float, or which data type you want to create for this particular class. Okay. So just to give that indication, what I'll do, and now I did not name it as arith underscore integer. I'll call it as generic, na? So arithmetic. This much is sufficient now, this name. I don't want to bind it with specific name, specific data type, right? So here, while creating the object, I'll create object of arithmetic. I need not mention arithmetic, float, and arithmetic. Yes, I'll create arithmetic. But now the problem is that how the compiler will understand that this object to be created for integer, this object to be created for float, some indication to be given to a compiler. So just to give that indication, here what I'll do, I'll add angular bracket and I'll mention integer. So this object will be created for integer variables. Okay, same class I'm using. The way I'm declaring variable is also same. Just this angular bracket I'm adding with some data type, just to tell the compiler that this object I want to create with integer. So now what will happen? What compiler is going to do? Compiler will replace all these T1s. Wherever this T1 is there, compiler internally will replace this T1 with now integer. So the first instance of this class, this object will be created for integer variable. So inside this object, what space, how much space, or for which type of variable space is created? For integer type. So all these T1s will be replaced with integers now. Integer. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, no? So otherwise, in this program, I need not make any change. I'm not going to touch anything here. No changes at all. Just here, I need to give a clear indication to a compiler that this object to be created of type integer. Now next, this object one should be, it should operate on which type of variable? Float. So just give that instruction to a compiler that this object one to be created as of type float. So now for this object one, what compiler will do? For this object one, all these T1 will be replaced by float now. Will be replaced by float. So for this object, one copy of that, all these set will be created. Okay, everything will be created for this object, and everywhere wherever T1 is there, it will get replaced with integer. Again, for this object one more copy will be created. Just pay attention here. One more copy will be created, and everything wherever that T1 is there, each T1 will be replaced with now float. So separate copy will be created each time. Whenever you create any object, separate copy will be created for everything. And wherever that T1 template is there, it will be replaced with corresponding data type. Yes, is it clear to everyone? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So now with this, tell me, is it going to save your memory?
No.
No, ma'am.
No? Or yes? No. What is
No.
the reason behind it? What is the reason?
Every time we are creating very.
Yes, each time whenever we are creating any object, a separate copy is created here. See, when I create this object with integer, one copy will be created for this integer, and everywhere this T1 will be replaced with integer. So in memory, you need a space. Yes, in memory for this object, you need space wherein everything, wherever T1 is there, it will replace it with integer, and one copy will be created for all integers. Whenever object 1 is there, it will create another copy of entire thing but replace T1 with float. So are we going to save any memory? No, we are not saving the memory here. So can we say that saving memory is the purpose of creating template?
No.
No, no, we are not going to save memory. कर रहे save memory? नहीं. Memory save करना is not a purpose of template. It is not at all a purpose of template. We are not saving memory. मेमोरी अगर नहीं सेव कर रहे तो एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम भी उतना ही लगेगा, उतनी मेमोरी है आपकी. एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम ऑल्सो वी आर नॉट सेविंग. सो व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू सेव हियर और व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू अचीव विद टेम्पलेट? यू ओनली टेल मी.
Repetition.
Exactly. Repetition. Yes. So repetition is what? It is related to reusability. If we have to avoid repetition, what we need to increase? Reusability. So with this template, what we are going to achieve is we are trying to increase the reusability of the code. So what is the purpose of creating template? What is the purpose of creating?
Reusability.
Yes, increase reusability, not to reduce memory, not to improve your time computation time and all that. The very purpose of introducing this template concept is increase the reusability. Reusability increase होता है तो क्या avoid होता है आपका? Repetition avoid होता है. Clear ना? Yes, so so template is to increase the reusability. मतलब हमने, say if you recollect, like previously we started with we have redeclared this class for float, then again third time we declare it for double. So why unnecessarily we are increasing the code size? है ना, आपका code बहुत बड़ा बन रहा है unnecessary. Code should be compact or it should be very huge? Compact, yes. So can we achieve it with the help of templates? Compact code हो रहा है आपका? Yes, है ना? Our code is very compact with the help of template. It is more reusability. It increases reusability. It is more flexible. Yes. So all these things we can achieve with the help of template. Is it clear? What is the purpose? अब वो सब उसका जो theory है, that part we'll see. Yes. Like we'll go through all these slides, but before that I want you to make sure that you have understood this template concept, why this template concept is introduced in C++ language. The purpose should be clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is clear to everyone make sure everyone make sure that the purpose is clear to everyone. Any doubts here? No? Any small doubt you can ask, anything. No? Okay. So now we'll go to our slides here in order to understand the template concept. Okay. You have already understood, but we'll go through these slides. So significant. Yes.
Ma'am, what if we want to change more than one things in a class?
Yes, okay. You want to make it flexible, like number 1 to be treated as integer, number 2 as float, like that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that will be covered. That will be covered in the next slides, actually. Upcoming slide, that part will cover. Yes. So like just one thing you need to do simply, now as you ask this question, simply what you need to do? You need to create one more template. How do we create template? Class T1 तो और एक template create कर लो T2 so that you can make combinations. Okay, then declare number 1 as T1, number 2 as T2. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, have I answered your query?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So but anyway, this concept will come in the coming slides. Okay, so yes. Here significant benefit of OOPS is reusability of code, which eliminates redundant coding. Okay, so whenever we are using object-oriented language, it should support reusability. That means eliminating redundant coding or repetition. We are trying to eliminate repetition of the coding. Template strengthens this benefit of OOPS and provides great flexibility to the language. As just now we have seen, it is giving more flexibility to your language. Okay. The template themselves are not compiled. Particular instances of templates are. Do you get this last sentence? Template themselves are not compiled. Particular instances of templates are compiled. Do you get this? What I'm trying to say here? Template themselves are not compiled. Compiler will not compile your template. What it will compile? Particular instance of that template is compiled. What does it mean? Just now I explained this. See, this template class is not compiled. Okay. What is compiled? See, whenever I'm creating this object, what I told you, whenever this object I'm creating, I'm passing this int in the angular bracket. So what happens for this object? It will create this entire thing, okay, for this object and replace this t1 with integer. So one copy of this entire thing will be created for object, and that copy will get compiled. That copy will get compiled. Your class, this entire template class is not compiled. That one particular copy of this class, entire class, wherever this t1 is replaced with integer, that code will get compiled, okay, for this object. Then next is we are creating this object one for float. So one more copy of this object one is created, okay, wherever one more copy of this class is created, wherever this t1 will be replaced by float, and that copy of that class will be compiled. Are you getting the point? Yes. So this class will not get compiled at the beginning. How that compilation will take place? Whenever you create any object, you have to mention the data type. Okay, you have to mention the data type. So now first time you have mentioned integer. So one copy of this class internally it is created by the compiler. Automatically it is created by compiler. So the compiler will create one copy of this entire class, okay, and it replaces this t1 with integer, and that copy will be compiled. So are you getting my point here?
Yes, ma'am.
What you have understood? What you have understood? Will it compile this as it is? This class will be compiled?
No, according
No.
to int float.
Correct. According to whatever parameter, that data type you mentioned while creating the object, those many instances of this class will be created. उतनी बार ये class create होता जाएगा. Yes, आपने यहाँ पे कितनी बार instantiate किया है? One for integer, one for float. So two copies of this class will be created internally. आपने नहीं किया है. As a programmer, you haven't created two copies, but the compiler internally is going to create one with this t1 replaced with integer in the first copy, and second copy everywhere that t1 will be replaced with float. So two instances of this arithmetic class will be created, one for integer, one for float. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. This is done by compiler. Okay. Now tell me, is this last statement is clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Template themselves are not compiled. Particular instances of templates are compiled. Now is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, template themselves are not compiled, particular instances. So that means indirectly number of instances are internally created, integer के लिए अलग, float के लिए अलग, double के लिए अलग. So when instances are created, you need memory. So you are not saving memory here. We have already seen. Templates are the foundation of generic programming, which involves writing code in a way that is independent of any particular type. So we are creating this template is supporting. Now you are getting introduced to a new term called as generic programming, which is very important term. बहुत एक बड़ी term से आप introduce हो रहे हैं आज. That is generic programming. Okay, and this generic programming, see, generic programming is a common term. Like I told you, object-oriented programming is a generic term. Yes, which are the object-oriented languages? C++, Java, these are object-oriented languages. But object-oriented programming is a general term, generic term. Similarly, structured or procedure-oriented programming is a generic term. Okay, which are the specific examples of procedure-oriented languages which you have learned? C language. Okay, so similarly here also, generic programming, this is a common term. Matlab, maybe C++ can support, Java can support, different languages can support this term. Yes, generic programming is a general term. Okay, any language can support generic programming, but each language may support it in a different manner. Each language may support it in a different manner. In C++, how this generic programming is supported? With the help of? Yes, with the help of
Template.
templates. Yes. So you need to make it clear कि generic programming और template इसमें क्या difference है? Generic programming is a common term. It is a way of coding, way of writing your code. Way of writing your code is generic programming. मैं अगर हार्ड कोड कर रही हूँ, एवरीथिंग एक्सप्लिसिटली मैं लिख रही हूँ, 1000 लाइन का 2000 लाइन का मैंने कोड लिखा है, नॉट अ गुड आइडिया. योर कोड शुड बी वेरी कॉम्पैक्ट, right? It should be very generic. Okay, so that way of writing code is called as generic programming. Way of writing code is called as generic programming. Yes, and to support generic programming in C++, which concept is there? Template concept is clear. Yes. So
Yes, ma'am.
templates, yes, templates are the foundation of generic programming. Okay, or using template you can achieve generic programming, you can say. This allows a function or a class to work on many different data types without being rewritten. We are not writing it again and again, but still your same class or same function can write on different data types without rewriting it. Okay, hence avoid code duplication or repetition for different data types. So we are trying to avoid duplication over here. A template is a blueprint or formula for creating a generic class or function. Yes, it is a kind of blueprint, or you can say format or formula, or you can say what you can say is skeleton kind of thing, blueprint. Okay, so template is nothing but a blueprint or formula for creating generic class or function. Today we have seen what generic class. Okay, then later on we'll also see generic function, how to create generic function. Okay, so here also we are using generic function also, like this is also generic function. Na? This is generic function, and this entire class is generic class. Okay, this entire class is generic class, and this function is generic function. Okay, but independently can we have generic function without having a class? अगर मैंने यहाँ पे class नहीं लिया है, एक बाहर मुझे एक independently function declare करना है, but I want to make it as a generic function. Is it possible? Yes. Without class also you can make generic functions. How to make it, that part we'll see later on. Okay, but you can make generic class as well as generic function. Both the things are possible. Okay? So you can create generic class as well as generic function. There is a single definition of each container such as vector. But we can define many different kinds of vector. For example, vector integer, vector string. See here, what I'm trying to say here, like in this example, I'm creating arithmetic as one type of a container. Okay. Now, as per my requirement, I can create integer type of container. I can create float type of container. Okay. So once you create a class, here I've taken example of a vector. So vector is what? It is nothing but array only, but flexible array. Flexible array मतलब कैसे create करते हैं flexible size का array?
Dynamic memory.
We can
Dynamic memory allocation, right? Now we create it with the help of pointers. Yes, pointers, using pointer we declare that array name, and then using dynamic memory allocation we can assign memory to it. Okay, now this way vector is created, but now in my programming sometimes I need to create integer type of vector, sometimes float type of vector, or any string type. So different data type, like character, here I mean to say character type of vector. So I may need to create different types of vectors. Yes, as per my requirement. So this can be achieved with the help of templates. You can use template to define functions as well as classes. Okay. The type of data that the function will operate upon is passed to it as a parameter. Okay. Like this I've already explained you. This should be passed as a parameter, integer, float. Yes. As many algorithms are logically same, no matter what type of data operated upon. Now we are trying to find the real world applications for a template. कहाँ पे हमें जरूरत पड़ती है template की in real world applications, where many algorithms are logically same, but data types can be different. Like say for example, have you learned about searching and sorting techniques in data structure?
Yes, ma'am.
Last year, ma'am.
Yes, na searching, sorting, different techniques you might have learned. So now tell me, if it is bubble sort, say for example, if it is bubble sort, if you are creating bubble sort for integer data type, and next in the same program, suppose I need to create it for float, do I need to change the logic of the bubble sort?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Logic remains exactly same. Okay, only the variable on which it is working is getting changed. Okay, say in the first iteration I want it integer, for the next iteration as per my application I want it as bubble in the same program आपका वही है, लेकिन कहीं पे आपको integer array है for example, so you want to sort that array, integer array, like roll number. See, I'll give you a real world example. Like in your application, you have stored student information. Okay, his roll number, marks, and name, everything. Now, if I have to sort roll numbers, okay, so what I'll do, I'll use a bubble sort to sort that roll number array. Now, suppose marks array I have created with type float. Marks मुझे decimal point में या percentage मैंने store किया है, तो percentage will be stored in decimal numbers as decimal number. So if I have to sort marks, in that case again I'll call bubble sort method only, because logic remains same. Only what is changing? Data type. Roll number के लिए integer था input, और for marks input is float, but the logic remains same. So in such situation, you can use template functions. Template function, ये function है. Yes, template class is different. Template class मतलब ये पूरा class आपने create किया. And this entire class is template class. Yes, function में आप क्या करते हो? See, bubble sort you write independently, quick sort you write independently. But this function, generic functions you can also create for different data type. Okay, so if in my application I want this type of sorting, wherein sometimes I need to sort roll number, sometimes percentage, so in that case data type is going to change, and that's the reason I use generic function or a template function. Bubble sort to be created as a template function in that case. Is it clear, the real world application? Are you getting where it is required actually? Yes to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
By creating a generic function, we can define the nature of the algorithm independent of data. Here data type I mean to say. Independent of data type, what should be the algorithm? We are focusing only on the algorithm, the steps, what I need to do. Compiler will automatically generate the code for all types that are used when executed. So when executed, we have seen different instances of the same class are created. So automatic overloading will be taken place, है ना? Overloading में भी यही होता है ना कि आप एक ही फंक्शन को अलग अलग डेटा टाइप से लिखते हो. So similarly here also, लेकिन वहां पे लिखना पड़ता है आपको. हर एक कॉपी you have to write that function again and again. First that function with integer, then float, and so on. Here I'm not writing it again and again. Internally that overloading is taking place. पहले मैंने इंटीजर के लिए बबल सॉर्ट किया था, बाद में मैंने फ्लोट के लिए बबल सॉर्ट किया, तो ऑटोमेटिकली कंपाइलर इज डूइंग इट फॉर मी. Compiler will first create this bubble sort for integer, then it creates it for float. उसके लिए मेमोरी में क्रिएट होगा सारा वो कोड, यस, एंड इंटरनली दैट ओवरलोडिंग विल टेक प्लेस. लेकिन मेरा प्रोग्राम नीट एंड क्लीन दिखेगा, प्रोग्राम मेरा कॉम्पैक्ट लगेगा, यस. So this is about template, yes, introduction to templates and template class. So tomorrow we'll start with template functions. Okay, so everyone make sure that this concept is clear to you. So in case if you